confusion and lies. Guys, let's talk about ICE in. All right. I wish I had, my daughter gave me this idea. I can't front, but it's a great idea. And I'm thinking about rolling with it, maybe to a protest, if you will. ICE in, ICE in, ICE in. That's what I want to see. I want to see more ICE. I like to see more deportations, but I agree that the messaging from the Trump administration hasn't been the greatest. Tom Homan is getting ready to take over. I think that'll change, and then the process of deporting Democrats will continue. So we're going to talk about ICE in. We're going to talk about deporting Democrats. We're going to talk about the Alex Pretti shooting, that and more coming up. Guys, let's here's what's really going on. All right, here's what's really going on. We all know what's going on. You guys might recall that in months past, I did a podcast called Importing Democrats. What's happening now is that the Democrats are deporting, or actually the Trump administration is trying to deport Democrats. And the left will stop at nothing to make sure that their new base does not get deported. That's what we see happening. Not to mention, there's distractions, obviously, from the Minnesota leadership, whether it's Governor Tim Walz, whether it's Tim Fry, whether it's AG Keith Ellison, that are trying to distract from the fraud, the overwhelming fraud inside of the state of Minnesota. I got to admit to you, I am a little frustrated. I don't understand how conservatives can go from exposing this massive fraud via Nick Shirley, thank you, Nick Shirley, and then defending defending positions when it comes to the Second Amendment, or defending deporting criminal illegal aliens. How do you do that? When you lose the messaging war. You may not want to hear this, you may not like to hear this, but the truth of the matter is politics is about political theater. Buddies of mine, the American adversaries, they talk about this all the time, and they're absolutely right. It is about political theater. Who can paint their opponent as the good guy versus the bad guy? That's what we see happening here. ICE is actually the good guys, and we all know they're the good guys, including the left. But the left doesn't want them in their blue cities, in their sanctuary cities. Many of them are useful idiots, lemmings, so on, etc. But the leftist leaders know exactly what they're doing. Guys, what is this all about? This is all about elections. We talked about this before. What happens when you have an overwhelming amount of illegal aliens that are flooding the zone, flooding these cities, blue states? What's happening? If you get a bunch of illegals that are flooding these blue states, that are flooding these blue cities, what's going to happen for Democrats? It's a net benefit for Democrats. Why? They'll get more funding from the federal government. How will they get more funding from the federal government? Because of the census. Remember, when you count, all the census does is basically counts heads. All right, counts population, if you will. All right, and so if you have a larger population, you get more federal funding. Just look at California. Look at what they do in Chicago. All of these places that will harbor illegals and have these sanctuary cities. That's why they want them for. They want more funding. They want more House seats. You can get more House seats. Why? Because you can draw up these districts. That's why the redistricting fights are very important. You can draw up these districts where Democrats can rule forever, just like they've done with California. It's amazing to me how the left is up in arms that Republicans finally want to draw maps that are fair, actually based on actual representation. Yet Democrats have been doing this. If you look at the way Illinois has been gerrymandered, you look at the way California has been gerrymandered, where basically Republicans, it's virtually impossible for Republicans to win so many of these districts because they've gerrymandered, Democrats have, these districts, congressional districts, where you'll only go through urban neighborhoods, whether they be Black, Latino, illegal, immigrant. That way they know that they will always get the votes. They won't get votes based upon their policies because their policies stink. Well, I take that back. They will get votes by many people based upon their policies, the people that are complete and utter crumb snatchers, that are just trying to take from the federal government. That's exactly what the Democrat Party wants. Trust me, guys, I'm going to get to the Alex Pretti shooting, but all of this is encompassed within that Alex Pretti shooting. All of this is interconnected. All right. So Democrats want illegal aliens. Why? Electoral college points. When when the presidential race rolls around, more House seats, more federal funding. but also if you want to remake America and you're not having as much success as you like in remaking America, or it's not happening as quickly as you like because you've already brainwashed a lot of college students, right? You turn on the television, you look on your phone, you look on social media. There is no absence of left wing, I don't know, left wing voices, if you will, telling you that America stinks, and knocking down every traditional Judeo Christian value that you could imagine, knocking down Christianity. There was a man that was stabbed. I believe it was in Washington, D.C. or Washington. I can't recall which, but a man was stabbed while walking his dog. His dog was stabbed as well by somebody that just walked up to him, a passerby, and asked him what religion he was. And the guy was like, I'm a Christian. And so the guy stabs him. I mean, we are living in insane times, and I think much of this is brought on by the left. Some of it is demonic, brought on by Satan himself. But understand what the left is doing. All right, and we're going to get into some video because you have to know what's going on in Minneapolis, what's going on in Minnesota, guys. This is all organized. Let me speak to real quickly the Alex Pretti shooting, and then I'm going to circle back. I've seen a lots of video. None of the video is convincing to me either way. All right. I'm not convinced that it was the right call to shoot him yet. Although I think he acted stupidly, and I want to get into that. And I'm not convinced that it wasn't the right call for ICE to shoot him. I just haven't seen enough. Now the arguments are: listen, he brought a semi-automatic, and I believe I retweeted this, and I did it. I did it based upon things that I had heard Christy Nome said, and then I shouldn't have done that. I went and I watched more and more video, and I was like, this is just inconclusive. And it doesn't matter, guys. Guys, let me tell you this. It doesn't matter if a protester takes a gun to a protest. Carl, what are you saying? We've heard Cash Patel. I don't know why he said what he said. Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, basically arguing that protesters don't bring guns to a protest. Well, I can't say that I've been to a protest arm. But I've been in different situations that I was armed, and I have a right to carry. What you don't do is wrestle and resist ICE agents when you're armed, because even if you're a legal carrier, at that point, it's completely irrelevant. An ICE agent, a law enforcement officer, if you have a weapon on you and they see that weapon, because they're human beings just like you, they're going to react the same way you would. All of you moralists out there that said you wouldn't have done it, they're freaking out. They're in the moment. This guy has a gun. They're wrestling him down. He resists arrest. He won't just comply. Somebody tweeted out at me or messaged me, oh, when it comes to this, let me guess, comply. Yes, comply. You live to fight another day. You don't resist. How many of you with a modicum of common sense, and parents that had common sense, told you to resist police officers? I mean, give me a break. This is absolutely insane what we're dealing with. But why is the left willing to fight so hard? And again, we're going to get through this because it's completely organized. I'll have more on Alex. I'll have more on Alex Pretti, and I've got some damning video. But keep in mind what this is, and this is why I want ICE in, not ICE out. I want ICE in, but I want ICE to be able to do their jobs. And the only way that ICE can do their jobs and do their jobs effectively is if state and local law enforcement and officials like a Mayor Fry, like a Governor Tim Walz, cooperate with them. Now, according to reports, President Trump has spoken to Governor Tim Walz, and allegedly he's going to cooperate. I won't believe it until I see it. I do not trust Tim Walz. You guys notice that Tim Walz has lost a lot of weight? You guys notice that? I've noticed that. I'm talking about it in the last few weeks. He's been sweating about all of the fraud that's taken place in Minneapolis and Minnesota. And I believe that he's concerned that perhaps he's being exposed, if for nothing else than being completely incompetent or being complicit. We'll have to wait and see how the investigation turns out. But it seems to me that he lost a lot of weight, really weird, really fast. I don't think it's Ozempic. I think he's scared. I think he's scared. And so what Tim Walz has been trying to do is literally rally up support from the useful idiots so that we're distracted about what's happening in Minnesota with ICE and what's happening with these rioters. These aren't protesters. Can we please? Conservatives are still calling them protesters. Can we please stop calling these people protesters? Protesters picket along the side of the road, not in the road. Protesters don't have organized campaigns where they spot ICE agents, where they track ICE agents, where they signal to each other online on their phones. They have different means to coordinate their operations. Oh, yes, we're going to get to that. Cam Higby of Newsmax has exposed some really crazy stuff. Cash Patel said, "I wish Cash Patel would stick with this stuff instead of sticking his foot in his mouth when it comes to the Second Amendment." Um, but this stuff is organized, and I'm sorry, Alex Pretti. Again, the investigative. I don't know where the investigation is going to end, but I will say this: I'm sad that he's dead, but he made a stupid decision, just like Renee Good. We're going to talk about this more on the other side. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Guys, don't go anywhere. We will be back in a moment. Let I. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Facebook family. Hello, Instagram, YouTube. Appreciate you guys being out there. X, Rumble. Man, Gabe is on point tonight. We're everywhere. Appreciate you guys tuning in. All right, let's do this, Mr. Cassiano. If we could come back, man, it is hot in here. It is literally, it is really hot. I hope, let me see. My studio is burning up. Let me try to. Sorry, guys. I am just trying to make sure. I'm going to make a quick call to the janitor. Oh, great. The janitor isn't picking up. Okay. Anyway, we'll get back to this, and I'm going to try my best not to sweat like a pig uh, in front of all you guys because the studio is burning up. Okay. Yes. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Welcome back to the program. And there's plenty of news out there, too, that I want to make sure that I get to. Headline news: Democrats are threatening to shut down the government if the president does not defund the Department of Homeland Security. The problem is with the big, beautiful bill, President Trump has funded the Department of Homeland Security, I believe, through 2029, if I'm not mistaken, 2028 or 2029. So this is all political theater that you'll be watching by Democrats. I don't know whether or not they'll shut down the government or not. We'll see. But if they do, then you're going to have some of the same industries that are going to be hurting. You're going to have your essential workers, government workers that are going to continue to be paid, but you're probably going to feel the pain if you're traveling again. With the TSA, so on, etc. So all of the things that finally shut down before is probably what you're going to feel. Military people will not be paid necessarily. They are essential, but their pay will be delayed, all that kind of good stuff. So this is what Democrats are willing to do to fight for criminal illegals. I'm talking about criminal illegals. All right. So that's what they're willing to do. I want to play a clip. This was from last week, but I think it's important to set the table. If we could go to clip number one, this is VP JD Vance before the shooting of Alex Pretti. And remember, at that point in time, last week even, you literally had Mayor Jacob Fry, you had Governor Tim Walz just ramping up the chaos, blaming Trump, calling him a Gestapo, calling him Nazi, all this kind of stuff. You had Governor Tim Walz come out and compare. He talked about Anne Frank. I forget exactly exactly how he phrased it. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. But basically, Trump is Hitler. The ICE agents are Gestapo. They're not real law enforcement. The danger in using this type of rhetoric is people are going to find out they're law enforcement once they're arrested, or God forbid, they're shot for doing stupid things like ramming a car into an ICE agent and then realizing, oh, they do have the power as law enforcement officials to use lethal force. So, guys, don't be a lemming. All right. This guy, Alex Pretti, was an ICU nurse. Apparently, decent guy, nice guy, except he was one of these leftists that were involved in one of these ICE watch groups. But here's President J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance. This was last week before the shooting, and then we'll get into some of the shooting and some of the latest video to emerge after the shooting and of the shooting. Cut number one, please, Gabe.
District here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota right now?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second. We don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now,
Okay, so that was VP JD Vance, and he's a great communicator. It's sad that he had to come out to Minneapolis, but he had to do it simply because, again, you have Mayor Jacob Fry and Governor Tim Walz, as well as AG Keith Ellison, who's been caught on videotape, or at least on audio tape, I should say, basically offering a quid pro quo to some of the Somalis that committed fraud. Hey, listen, I'm gonna kind of sweep this under the rug. I'm paraphrasing here. If you donate to my campaign, wink, wink. I mean, this guy should be in jail, in my opinion. AG Keith Ellison, based upon that alone. But you had JD Vance literally trying to communicate, and communication is very important. Right now, the polling for President Trump and ICE, it wasn't looking great, not because people didn't want it. Overwhelmingly, people want, when they're polled, overwhelmingly, they want illegal immigrants to return to their home countries. If they're going to come here, they want it to do it the legal way. But nobody likes how it looks. Now, I knew that it was going to look ugly, but it looks particularly ugly now. Let's go to cut number 5. This is Alex Pretti, one slowed down video showing him being shot. It's never going to look pretty. And frankly, let me say this. Before we show cut number 5, actually, let's show this and let me respond. Let's play cut number 5, please, Gabe. Okay, so honestly, it's never going to look pretty. And again, the investigation is going to play out. We'll see where the investigation leads. There's body cam video of some of the ICE agents that were there on the scene. Presumably, the ICE agent that shot him, that shot him as well. But here's the bottom line. This would have never happened Were it not for Biden's open borders, this would have never happened. Alex Pretti, Renee Good would be alive were it not for Biden's open borders, were it not for Mayor Fry refusing to cooperate with ICE agents, were it not for Governor Tim Walz refusing to cooperate with ICE agents. Guys, we all know the deal. ICE agents, we would never know about ICE agents. And as a matter of fact, we hardly ever know about ICE agents because we know that Obama deported people at record numbers. Some of those numbers may be a little fuzzy, but nonetheless, he deported a lot of people. Tom Homan even got an award under Obama for deporting for his work in deporting illegal immigrants. This stuff is gonna never gonna look pretty, but it's absolutely necessary. But you never see it except for now. And you see it in these sanctuary cities, which I don't even know how we can have sanctuary cities under the supremacy clause. This makes no sense to me. There's legislation, I believe, right now that Senator Lindsey Graham is working on, as well as Senator Ashley Moody. One is for making sure that ICE agents have 25 feet or so of space. And then another is for, let me look this up real quick. I saw it earlier. Lindsey Graham to introduce legislation to end sanctuary city and state policies. Honestly, I don't know why that hasn't happened. But just getting back to that video, Alex Pretti would be alive were it not for Jacob Fry, were it not for Governor Tim Walz not cooperating with ICE, were it not for Biden's open borders, were it not for him participating with an ICE watch group. And you can listen, ICE watch whatever. You can watch, you can observe all you want. You can't obstruct, you can't interfere. And listen, I don't these people that are saying, okay, he brought a gun to a protest. I don't care that he brought a gun to a protest. The only reason why that's a story is because he made the stupid decision trying to help out another person, I guess that was part of ICE Watch or whatever, and then wrestling and resisting ICE. At that point, they have to make a determination. And sadly, I'm sure he was a decent guy, except for being a lawbreaker in that moment. But he made a really stupid decision, and we'll have to see how all of this plays out. But he should be alive. But make no mistake about it, ICE in again. Let me just reiterate what the left wants, what this is really about. Besides distracting from Minnesota fraud, I can't believe we're still talking about this 3 weeks in. That just lets me know I got to be frank. Christy Nome stunk with messaging. Greg Bavino, great at their jobs, I'm sure, outside of messaging, but it wasn't the messaging that was helping the Trump administration. That's why Tom Homan is coming in now. Tom Homan has been a Border Patrol agent. He knows what they go through. He knows what they do. He's been on the border. He's seen the suffering on the other side of the border that these children and families go through just to get here. And he's an excellent communicator. In my opinion, he should have been the Department of Homeland Security secretary in the first place. I don't know why he's borders, or I don't know if he couldn't make it to a Senate hearing or whatever it may have been. I don't know. But I'll just be real with you. I would prefer him over Chrissy Nome any day of the week and twice on Sunday. He's just better at this stuff. And messaging matters. These people are putting President Trump in a bind. They're putting the midterms in a bind. And I'm glad they're standing up for the rule of law. We need people like Greg Bavino to stand up for the rule of law, to deport people. That's his job. But messaging, not necessarily so, because you won't get to keep doing that job if we lose the House in 2026. That's important. We'll be back. Sure. Hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in on Facebook, guys. If I could please get you as well as Facebook, thank you so much. But please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be a big, big help. The same is true for our X page. So if you will go on X or Twitter, I prefer to call it, even though Elon Musk calls it X. we would certainly appreciate that. I really appreciate you guys being out there, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. I can't believe we're still talking about this story, but it's necessary. We've got to fight back against the left, and unfortunately, here we are, still talking about Minneapolis when I prefer to be talking about how many illegals have been deported. I prefer to be talking about the economy. I prefer to be talking about the housing market getting better. There's, some interest rates have been lowered, so on, et cetera. These are the things that I would prefer to be talking about. I would prefer to be talking about the Ayatollah Khamenei hopefully being toppled soon in Iran, and the people that are suffering tremendously there being set free from oppression. But that hasn't happened yet. But I prefer to be talking about those things. So I'm a little frustrated that we still have to talk about this, yet it's necessary that we talk about this because let's just be frank, the right has been losing the messaging war, and I wish politics wasn't about political theater too, but it is, and so we've got to win that war. But Gabe, I am ready whenever you. Oh, yes, I do. Guys, let me tell you real quickly about my pillow. There's still a Christmas special going on, believe it or not. So last year was a little tough for my pillow. But it's because of loyal listeners like you that they're still standing strong. So to show their appreciation, they're offering their special Christmas savings that are exclusive for my listeners. All you have to do, or actually, you can get the children's Bible story pillow, a 5 pack for just $29.98. You can get my slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant for just $39.98, and a variety of blankets, comforters, and duvets. They all start as low as $25. Plus, there's a major blowout deal on the standard My Pillow. It's now only $14.98. Guys, I don't use any other pillow besides My Pillow. I kid you not. I've even tried some since. I don't like them. So you'll love that pillow. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263. Use that promo code Carl, Carl. I don't spell it like the communists. And you can unlock all of these wholesale prices. Again, that includes the standard My Pillow. It used to be $49.98, but for you, it's $14.98. The queen sizes are marked down to $18.99. The king sizes are only $1 more. God's honest truth. If you get this pillow, you may have to put it in your dryer to make sure that it fluffs up the way that you want it. But you will not use another pillow again. All right, you already know My Pillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but they've announced, actually, this was right before Christmas, that they have a 60-day money back guarantee that's been extended. So um, if you have purchased their products right before Christmas, going back to right before Christmas, a day or two before Christmas, orders placed between then and now, they have a guarantee all the way through March 1st. So you still got some time. So go ahead, mypillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, Gabe, let's get back to the studio, to the show. Okay, welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Also, please follow me. All things social media: X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, everywhere. The Carl Jackson Show, Carl Jackson Show. You will find me out there. All right, so we're talking about ICE in. All right, guys, we need ICE in these cities, even sanctuary cities, in order to regain our culture. We don't want the left to win elections. This is what they're doing. They're using illegal immigrants. They don't care about illegal immigrants one iota. They don't care about their well-being. You heard the reporter asked JD Vance about the 5-year-old. That was a big story. Oh, did ICE arrest a 5-year? Did ICE arrest a 5-year-old? I mean, this is insane, guys. You can go back and watch children that were coming into the United States that were abandoned by cartels and their sorry behind parents that were sending them on this journey into the United States. And you would see video of ICE agents comforting, or Border Patrol agents comforting children, comforting the children. So you think they were really arresting a 5-year-old? No, the dad bounced. He left his kid there, probably like he did at some point in time in the desert coming here, for God's sakes. And then ICE gets blamed for it. Listen, man, countries have laws. Are we the only country in the world that shouldn't have laws that protect our sovereignty? I mean, this makes no sense of the world. We're one of the only countries, for one, we bring in legal immigrants at the tune of nearly 1 million per year. And then Biden was bringing in millions. I mean, there's estimates of 12 million, 15 million, 20 million illegals. We'll never know how many illegals came into the United States under the Biden administration. And it's all about power. Again, it's about federal funding. It's about electoral college points, if you want, or if you will, during the presidential election. It's about House seats. It's about changing the culture. It's about fundamentally transforming the culture so that ultimately what you have is one party rule. That's what this is all about. And frankly, it's sad to me that people like Alex Pretti, who, by the way, did belong to one of these ICE watch groups, and you can belong to any group you want. All right, that's not relevant when it comes to the shooting of Alex Pretti. I feel like I got to make this point. Whether or not he belonged to an ICE watch group isn't relevant. What he did belonging to that ICE watch group may be relevant. Whether he carried a gun to a protest or not isn't relevant. What he did with the gun while at a protest, interfering in ICE operations, blowing a whistle, trying to block ICE, just like Renee Good, you're going to get yourself in a bad situation. And even if you're a legal carrier, you still can't do stupid stuff when you have a gun on you. And everybody that's a legal carry or has a CCW, concealed weapons carry, they know this. We're trained in this. We're taught this before you get your license. Everybody knows this. He knew this. He made a bad decision. Now, here's what's really going on in Minneapolis. It's so organized. It's unbelievable. Cut number 6, Gabe. This is a Cam Higbee of Newsmax. I don't know how or who has infiltrated. I probably shouldn't even, but they know it's all over X at this point. But let's play cut number 8 or cut number 6. I'm sorry, cut number 6. This guy brilliantly, I have no idea how, infiltrated these ICE agitators, these ICE anarchists. That's what they are. They are not protesters. Let's stop calling protesters. Will sit on the side of the street, mind their, protesting, but peacefully, not destroying businesses, not interrupting traffic, not trying to de-arrest criminals that ICE is arresting. They don't do that. Anarchists do that. But let's go to cut number 6, please, Kate.
White Chevy Silverado with the newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street going north on Irving.
They've got a whole system.
We seem to be the only commuters following. Just wanted to give an update on our location.
Thank you. Do you have anyone in the car with you?
Yes, I do.
Lovely. Thank you.
And we are getting a photo sent to the chat for confirmation.
That's crazy.
This is John 612. That we are at Grand and Lake. We're heading toward Irving. We can try and join you.
Thank you, John 612.
Hey, this is Lokito. I'm getting some messages from the WhatsApp group that they're driving around on 28, 29 Pleasant and Pillsbury Avenue. If you want to swing by there first, I'm making my way down that way as well. I am on Lake Park.
I'll relay to the Spanish chat, or sorry, relay to the Uptown Whittier.
Tired.
Thanks, Aaron.
That Ford just gray Ford just last.
On the car.
That's us.
It's empty. But sit.
Please go on mute. John 612, please go on mute.
It's gonna be a right, the next right.
Lokito, go ahead.
The next right.
Okay, you can cut the video. You guys get the point. And this is an organized operation. These people know exactly what they're doing. It almost sounds like a dispatch unit with law enforcement, doesn't it? I hope no law enforcement are involved. It almost sounds like you know what I mean? It's amazing. Maybe some X, who knows, 911, who knows? I'm just guessing here. I'm just speculating, but that's pretty eerie. So the left doesn't care about ICE. There was a great piece of Real Clear Politics called "The Campaign Against ICE is All About Open Borders," and this guy nailed it. It is spot on. The left doesn't care about ICE's performance. They really don't. They care about making sure that President Trump doesn't reverse Biden's open border policies. That's the big fear. Again, why? I'll keep reiterating this. I'll say it time and time again. It's about electoral college points. It's about the census. It's about House seats. It's about funding, federal government funding. It's about changing the culture. It's about one party rule. That's what it's about. And Democrats know that if they can keep ushering in illegals and you get these crazy white liberal chicks that aren't willing to have babies anymore, then ultimately you need people to replenish the population and vote Democrat. So you bring a bunch of people inside of the United States that are going to be perpetually dependent. Now, guys, I got to remind you, oh man, sometimes when the brilliance just hits me right in the middle of a rant, it's just glorious. But anyway, I got to go back to Obama for a quick second. You guys may or may not recall this, but remember Obama back in 2012, I believe it was, when he was running against Mitt Romney, leading up to that election. Do you guys recall what he did? Do you guys recall what the strategy of the left was at that time? It was to abandon the white blue collar worker in search of or in chase of or in quest of a bunch of Latino votes. So they wanted to win Latinos, they wanted to win minorities. That's what the Obama administration wanted to do. That failed. Why did that fail? Ultimately, ultimately that failed because Obama was a leftist. Obama started going for gay rights and gay marriage and all this kind of stuff. That turned away a lot of Latinos that are very religious people. And then Trump won many of it was like the Reagan Democrats. They came back to Trump. And so the Democrats screwed themselves. How do they rectify this? Open borders. Open borders. So I say ice in, ice in. All Walsh and Fry have to do as the leaders of these sanctuary cities in order to avoid these dangerous confrontations is cooperate. That's it. According to this article, Minnesota alone refuses to comply with 1,360 detainers for illegal aliens that are in its jails. So 1,360 60 illegal aliens that are inside of their jails, including 500 previously ordered to be deported by federal judges. 1,360. So you can have an ICE agent walk out any one individual at any given time instead of trying to hunt them down in the streets. Oh, and by the way, one thing that I failed to mention, and I'm so frustrated, I didn't mention this when I showed the video, or Gabe showed the video of this guy Alex Pretti being shot. I shouldn't be in that situation. This is what frustrates me. I shouldn't be in this situation. Normally, it's local and state police, along with the mayors, along with the city leaders, county leaders, governor, that are cooperating with ICE. So you never see ICE. You never see them. They shouldn't be in a position where they have to worry about crowd control and worry about doing their job. Of course, things are going to be intensified. It's almost, it's not that you give them a pass if they do something wrong, but it's just, of course, they're going to do things wrong when all they want to do is arrest criminal illegal immigrants. I'm talking about people that have committed murder, rape, pedophiles, domestic violence, DUI, that are in this country illegally. And if you're in this country illegally in the first place, and then you're a criminal, you need to go bye-bye. Insane. Insane. It's just insane. They should never be in a position where they have to, or feel like they have to, shoot a Renee Good, or feel like they have to shoot an Alex Pretti. Again, well, I'll wait to see what plays out with Alex Pretti. But ICE agents should never be put in this position. We'll be back. How many is that, Gabe? Man, I was afraid of that. Okay. I did signal gate, FBI. Okay. Let's come in with cut number 9 when we come back, please. Actually, Yeah, 9, and then let's look for 16. Number 9, Cash Patel. Yeah, let's just go. Yeah, we can go ahead and roll it.
Okay, so this is breaking news. So you and the FBI and perhaps other intelligence agencies are fully aware of this coordinated effort to attack federal law enforcement, to impede them and potentially insurrect. And so there is now an open investigation into these chats and into this coordinated network.
Yeah,
Because
what I can say is,
some of them are
sorry.
fleeing. Some of them are very scared now. You can see their chats. They're very, very worried now that they have been exposed.
Well, they should be. If they broke the law, you should be worried. It's that simple. If you didn't break the law, there's really nothing to worry about on that front. And so, we're going to continue, as I've said from day one, we will protect law enforcement. We will make sure they have the security and safety to do their jobs. We will also ensure that civilians have the ultimate protection of the First and Second Amendment. But it is my job to adjudicate the difference when there is a breaking of federal statute or state law in the furtherance of a crime or violence against law enforcement officers. And that's when we step in.
I am so impressed with these independent journalists that are out there and are able to infiltrate some of these organizations, these left wing, radical, extreme, anarchist organizations, and get this type of information. And they should be scared. And I hope those are more than words from Cash Patel. It's time for people to be arrested. It's time for people to go down. Regardless of how you feel about the shooting, and again, the investigation will play itself out. I should never be in a situation where they feel like they have to defend themselves in that way, because truthfully, except when it comes to the illegal immigrant criminal that they're arresting, because they never have to be put in these situations. You just look at places like Florida, you look at Texas, you look at any red state, and frankly, many blue states. You got even though, well, Georgia or blue counties and cities, you've got, I believe it's the mayor of Atlanta that cooperates with ICE. Eric Adams, to some extent, cooperated with ICE, where you can go in and get these criminals in the jails, and then it's just a lot safer for everyone. It's safer for the illegal immigrant. It's safer for the ICE agent. It's safer for the community and the city. It's insane, guys. I want to talk to you just real quickly about, or remind you, the left knew exactly what they were doing under the Biden administration. They knew exactly what they were doing with these open border policies. You can't get weak now. We need ICE to continue to deport people. However, President Trump wants better communication. He wants a different look. Tom Homan, all along, there's been some friction that's been reported. We've heard this for a while now between Kristi Noem and Tom Homan. I always wished that Tom Homan was the Department of Homeland Security. It just made sense. He knows the job. He's been in that line of work for literally what, 40 years. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to communicate this. It just makes a lot more sense. He wanted to go and focus on the criminal illegal element. You can have Department of Homeland Security focus on other things, maybe a broader illegal immigration, but not where it's all political theater, because you don't want the left to use that as fodder, and you don't want Trump to lose his base. So as much as we don't like it, political theater plays a part. But listen to these stats. This Real Clear Politics reminded me of this story in there. In the Biden administration, this is why we knew exactly what they were trying to do with illegal immigration. That's why I say ICE in. That's why I say deport Democrats. On his first day in office, Biden stopped the construction of Trump's border wall. He also ended the Remain in Mexico policy. You guys remember that policy, where when illegals were coming in through the border during the Trump administration illegally, Trump worked with Mexico and other nations in the in Southern American territory, basically, to say, listen, if you come in, you can't bust into the United States anymore. You're going to have your court appearance in Mexico. You know what happened? It slowed down. And they were trying to come in during COVID. So during the COVID era lockdowns. So it slowed down right away. Illegals coming in through the border. Biden reversed that. He dismantled virtually all of Trump's immigration policies. He exempted most illegal immigrants from deportation, even. He granted protected status to about 1 million illegals. He boosted refugee admissions. He issued green cards to immigrants who required public benefits. He allowed Title 42 authority to lapse, which increased illegal immigration by nearly 1 million migrants each year. He distributed free cell phones and housing subsidies to entice more illegal immigrants. Guys, the reason why, at least in the rental market, when it comes to housing, and I've explained this before when we've had our friend the economist on, is 2/3 of the rental market. The reason why the prices are so high in the rental market and why your kid can't leave home is because of it, they're competing with illegal immigrants. I mean, he flew illegals out of the country. Only 5 Democrats in the House supported legislation requiring proof of citizenship to vote. Why is that? Because they need this new Democrat base of illegals. Trump ran on closing the border, guys. We all know that it wasn't going to look pretty. So, despite Minnesota's refusal to work, ICE has arrested 3,000 illegals there, thank God, in Operation Metro is what it's called, including migrants that have been convicted of murder, aggravated assault, domestic abuse. This isn't unconstitutional. Then you have this Biden judge. This is another problem. You get these judges on the federal bench, especially in that territory, that are friendly to the Biden administration or friendly to the left. So this Biden appointed judge Catherine Menendez, she didn't allow for the anti ICE anarchists to kick ICE out of Minneapolis, but she did demand that they stop using tear gas against peaceful protesters or peaceful demonstrators. That's been overturned, thank God. But that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. And it's absolutely insane for me. There's polls that show that the support for ICE is eroding. The all-out Democratic campaign to vilify ICE using the disturbing video of militarized law enforcement. I'm reading for Real Clear Politics. Officers in gas masks and fatigues, a growing toll of injuries and fatalities, regardless of fault, adverse court decisions. And I think we just lost the messaging. Frankly, what should have been happening, you should have had Tom Homan in there early. President Trump has rectified, that, is rectifying this. But when you had Tim Walz coming out, get ICE out, you should have had Tom Homan in there already, ICE in, showing the pictures. And I believe President Trump did that himself. And that's a brilliant move. But that's what you have to do every day when you're combating the left. Sometimes winning in politics is about the narrative just as much as it is about politics. Nobody likes to hear that, but that's the truth. Politics is a nasty game. It's a blood sport. Narrative matters. Words matter. Language matters. Gabe, let's play, if we have time, let's play cut number 16, please. This is Caroline Levitt. Here's what she had to say about all of this, about the shooting of Alex Pretti, I believe, actually.
To the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out. But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota. For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Fry and other elected Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members. Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike. This is precisely what unfolded in Minneapolis on Saturday morning. Obstructing federal law enforcement and inciting violence against officers is wrong and illegal.
All right, so that's Caroline Levitt. Let's play another video real quickly, if we can here. This is James O'Keefe, cut number 10, if we could, Gabe. James O'Keefe was attacked in Minneapolis himself. He tried to infiltrate the crowd, and it didn't work out too well for him. Except there should be video coming later. Cut number 10, please.
They're everywhere.
Shut the fucking doors.
Shut the door.
Excuse the language, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was there.
Whoa.
We're fucking pressed,
We're
dude.
pressed. Do you know what the First Amendment is?
First Amendment.
Yes or no? They threw a frozen
ice
brick at the car.
Take off your vest.
Okay, so and there's more video of that. Basically, James O'Keefe talking about his experience there. These people are throwing. I mean, guys. I mean, think about this. I mean, I have a water bottle on the set right now, but you freeze that thing solid and you throw that at someone with all of your might. That could be a deadly weapon if that hits them in the right place, in the head, God forbid. And they're just throwing it willy nilly. This is what the left is willing to do. This is what their minions are willing to do. This has turned into a very dangerous situation up to a point where I believe President Trump, if this thing doesn't get under control, and I'm talking about fast, he needs to go ahead and invoke the Insurrection Act. Because if he's worried about optics, I'm sorry, the optics are already there. So let's get the situation calmed down so that we can move on to other news. All right, you are listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me all things social media at Carl Jackson Show, at the Carl Jackson Show. We'll be back for one more segment. Okay, let's go to let's start with cut number 11 if we could here, Gabe. Por favor. Oh, guys, please, please, if you would like, share, and subscribe this podcast, we would certainly appreciate it. YouTube, Rumble, wherever you go to get your podcast, we would certainly appreciate that. Help to expand our audience. Appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy schedules to tune in to the show. And please, all things social media at Carl Jackson Show, at the Carl Jackson Show. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Just a few more things that I'd like to cover with you guys, including some very important news that we have to make sure that we talk about in regards to China, or as Trump would say, China. Very, very important. Things are happening, and I really think I didn't get an opportunity to talk about it as much as I would have liked to last week, but Trump completely owning Davos was absolutely just huge, regardless of whether or not you like the tactics, his tactics or rhetoric when it came to Greenland. Basically, we ended up with a deal that we could have gotten weeks ago with Greenland, and that they could have settled with weeks ago had they just worked with the president. And again, everybody knows nobody cared about Greenland until President Trump started talking about it. But this was something that Ronald Reagan wanted to do with Star Wars. And now it looks like that this is going to come to fruition. But this type of stuff is having an impact around the globe. All of these people that say, oh, Trump shouldn't be involved in he should only be concerned about what's happening in America. Well, guys, if Iran or China bomb us from outside of America, are we going to say, what are we going to say then? We're going to be like, well, Trump should have been on top of that. I mean, give me a break. So these America First people that say that dealing with China, Russia, Iran is not America First, frankly, it's just ignorant. I mean, we don't have to get involved in quagmires in the Middle East, right, for decades, but we should be involved in any nation that's hostile towards us and that is actively working to take us down. And that includes Russia, Iran, and China. That should have been a piece inside of the show. But anyway, we're going to get right back to the show. Maybe I will mention that, as I mentioned to all of you guys that are tuning in the audience live. All right, let's go back and roll, por favor. Oh, that's a good question. Man, that's a good question. 13 and 17, I think we need to play. Let's start with 17, please. When we can come in with it.
Yesterday, investigative journalist Cam Higbee began releasing information obtained after infiltrating the Minneapolis ICE Watch signal chat conversations. And the information that he has found and released to the public is absolutely incredible. He began by releasing screen recordings of their members list, and investigators over on X have been taking that list and researching who these people are when they've decided to use their real names. We're talking about local politicians, we're talking about national journalists, and yes, even people connected directly to Governor Walz himself. Local politicians like Audrin Chowdhury, a St. Paul City Council member, and at the state level, people like Brad Tabke, a Minnesota state representative, Sergio Martinez, a national correspondent for NPR, Hwa Jong Kim, another St. Paul councilwoman.
Wow.
Others have also been identified. Local politician David Snyder has been identified as one of the admins in the anti-ICE signal organization. Minnesota state candidate Anita Smithson, also identified as a dispatcher. And it is now believed that this person, Amanda Noel Kohler, may in fact be the ringleader of what appears to be a very sophisticated, very well-funded, organized crime operation. And here she is smiling with Governor Twinkletoes Sparkle Fingers as a political strategist for his campaign. You know who else is found in these signal chat conversations? Renee Good and Alex Pretti, two people who have lost their lives when conducting domestic terror tactics under the supervision of this organization. So what else did Cam Higbee discover? Well, it appears as though they have direct access to the National License Plate Identification Network, which can only be obtained with cooperation through law enforcement or somebody embedded in law enforcement that has access to that database. They also know the exact timing and movements of law enforcement and shift changes, information that can also, again, only be learned when you have people embedded in law enforcement. So you've got local politicians, you've got national media, you've got coordination with local law enforcement, and you have a connection directly to the governor's office. So now I understand why the Department of Justice has been demanding records through subpoenas to a grand jury of St. Paul, Minneapolis, the governor's office, the attorney general's office, and the mayors of those two cities and local prosecutors.
We can cut that.
Does the Department of Justice already know the detailed level of sophistication?
We get the gist of it. I mean, that is absolutely damning. If this all turns out to be true, this is absolutely damning. I suspect it will. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see it play out. But the bottom line is, I don't doubt it. And perhaps I should have played that video earlier. I watched it right along with you. But it didn't sound like it sounded like dispatch calls from cops. So it's almost like I'm wondering if some type of, I know he said there was a main person that organized this likely, but I think that person would have had to have worked with some local law enforcement or perhaps ex-law enforcement, somebody familiar with that system, and then just using WhatsApp or whatever other chat groups they may have been in. But we are living in dangerous times. I do believe the world is getting better. All right, so a couple of things. Oh, let me make mention of this. So Lindsey Graham is introducing legislation to end sanctuary cities. I have told you guys that Democrats are threatening to shut down the government. That is a headline. Minnesota has asked a judge to order ICE to leave the state. That isn't going to happen, and that shouldn't happen. We can't back down, but I do believe, listen, communication has to be better. You need a person like Tom Homan out there that is exclusively focused on the criminal, illegal element out there in these sanctuary cities, because what the left is trying to do is they want the look, they want the optics, they want the bad looking video. They want people like Renee Good and Alex Pretti sacrificed on their left-wing radical altar for the sake of gaining more power for themselves. And that's what it's about. Now, I don't doubt that many of these people, Alex Pretti, perhaps Renee Good, are a bunch of social justice warriors that wanted to feel good about themselves, that wanted to feel moral for intervening in law enforcement operations when it came to ICE, and they lost their lives for it. But the people like Tim Walz, the people like Jacob Fry, the people like AG Keith Ellison, these people are only concerned about power and keeping their power and not going to jail after Nick Shirley, the story that we're no longer talking about, which is thank God why Tom Homan is coming in, the Minnesota fraud. Let Tom Homan come in and the ICE agents, let them do their job. There needs to be cooperation. If what this gentleman just broke down in that last video is true with these names, we're going to get some cooperation. I think things are going to calm down. Cash Patel, the FBI, better go in there with force to make sure they find these people and get them quickly and charge them whatever law they broke regarding trying to obstruct ICE. This isn't just about observance. It's not. And frankly, I feel like, for one, I don't know why Renee Good's lover isn't arrested. I think she should be in jail for the death of Renee Good. Drive, baby, drive. She's not in jail. That makes no sense to me. So Lindsey Graham is addressing the sanctuary policies of Minneapolis. You have, again, Walsh, Fry, A.G. Ellison continue to light the match. But Lindsey Graham said on Sunday, these cities have willfully ignored federal law, creating massive fraud of benefits, a constant magnet for illegal immigration, a breakdown of law and order. I will be introducing legislation to end sanctuary state and city policies once and for all because they rip off the taxpayer and cause extreme danger for those trying to clean up the mess in these liberal cities. Now, this is a good idea. I hope Republicans will do it. It's sad that I have to say that. I hope Republicans will do it. It's an election year, guys. The right wants to rile you up too. So let's make sure we call our congressmen. Let's make sure we call our senators. Really important. Really, really big news. Actually, guys, continue to pray for the people of Iran. I mean, there's estimates that there's over 50,000 people that have been slaughtered. They haven't slowed down. The Khamenei is desperate. He's showing no mercy. This is from, who is this from? This is on my tip sheet today. We are aware Khamenei show no mercy order leads to unspeakable slaughter of innocents. We were aware of the fact that the death toll in Iran initiated by an order for Khamenei was brutal. And now we're finding out how brutal. Ahmet Siegel, on the night of January 8th, when the internet was shut off, the streets of Iran saw the worst massacre in the history of the Islamic Republic and among the deadliest days worldwide, according to the report in a generation. The regime opened fire on thousands, possibly tens of thousands of their own citizens. Morgues overflowed. Bodies lay in the streets. Families were torn apart. Some estimates place casualties from the protests as high as 20,000. I've heard upwards of 70,000. And people are scared for their lives. People that are associated with the people that were murdered are scared for their lives. Carl, why should we bother with Iran? Yeah, I said this offline, but I'll say it to you guys. It is America first to make sure that we have peace in places like Iran, where Iran isn't a threat, China isn't a threat, Russia isn't a threat. I don't understand why this isn't America first. I don't want Iran bombing us. Because we're the big Satan, according to them, or the great Satan, right? I don't want China becoming the dominant power when they're run by a bunch of communists. I simply don't want that. So to me, America first is protecting our interests, yes, domestically, but also worldwide, so that nobody's coming after them. So I love the way Trump is handling this. Now, this is a big part of the news story that happened. Xi is purging, or has purged, his top general. So President Xi Jinping has been howling out his entire senior military leadership. The question is why? Apparently, it's a question of loyalty or ever elusive military competence. First, they say who's gone. The General Zhang, I don't know how to pronounce these names. Zhang Youxia is a vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, the Communist Party body that controls China's armed forces. He's gone. Another member of the commission, General Liu Zhengli, who leads the military's Joint Staff Department, is also under investigation. The Defense Ministry said in the Economist reports, that was from the New York Times. The Economist reports the latest probes are the most striking evidence yet of the scale of the problems that Xi still faces in trying to transform the PLA into a fully modern fighting force. Guys, there's rumors that perhaps a coup was attempted. We don't know. We'll have to wait and play out and see how this see what plays out. There's been rumors, according, or at least the Wall Street Journal. Um, the Wall Street Journal wrote a piece saying that one of the generals was sharing information, secret information, military information with the United States of America. But for some reason, there's not a lot of credibility when it comes to the Wall Street Journal and with China, which is weird to me because I like the Wall Street Journal generally, but I like Epic Times typically when it comes to more so when it comes to speaking of China. But these are some things to be aware of. And guys, I'm telling you, Trump owning Davos, President Trump strengthening our energy policies, becoming energy dominant. This is having an adverse effect on China. This guy is literally fighting our enemies without firing a shot, technically, with the exception of Iran, and he is having major success. This is making America safer. I know people don't want to talk about it. I know people think this isn't America first. It's America first because now these countries won't be bombing us, and perhaps China won't invade Taiwan. Until next time, guys, don't grow worried, doing good. God bless you.